Hi, I'm Josh, and welcome back to A Blind Tasting, where today I'm talking about Nonna and I, an interesting Italian restaurant with 10 years of history behind it. Nonna and I first started in Norwood back in 2015, and after building up a bit of a reputation for themselves, moved to their current location in Adelaide's CBD about a year or so ago as of the recording of this video. While a lot of Italian restaurants in Adelaide focus on more traditional food, Nonna and I incorporate a few of the Italian-American classics into their menu, making them a bit unique when compared with their competition. Nonna and I like to say that you're part of the family when you're dining with them, and as much as possible try to use seasonal South Australian produce. Does it make for a winner of an experience? Well, in this video, I'll be talking about their customer service, quality of their food, how accessible Nonna and I is for disabled guests, and giving my overall thoughts at the end. Now let's get started with customer service. Nonna and I was fairly busy when I attended, and it did mean staff weren't able to check in all that frequently, but when they did, they were friendly and professional, and happy to answer any questions that we might have had. I don't have a lot to talk about here, which is going to be reflected in the rating that I give at the end, but it wasn't an unpleasant experience. Nonna and I gets 3 out of 5 for customer service, only because there's so little for me to actually talk about. Moving on to the food, the real reason that we're here. And as I said, Nonna and I focuses a bit more on Italian-American style Italian cuisine, as well as offering a few of the classics. My personal favourite is the baked ziti, and for any fans of The Sopranos, you might recognise that one.
So what, no fucking ziti now? Hey!
It's quite similar to a lasagna, or a pasta bake if you're familiar with those dishes. Absolutely packed full of flavour, and I very strongly recommend it. There's plenty else to like as well, whether it's beef cheeks or the flounder, which I have had there in the past. So you're not going to be disappointed by anything on the menu. Since a lot of the food tastes like something that came straight from the Nonna's kitchen, I'm more than happy to give 4 out of 5 to Nonna and I for their food. Now we move on to accessibility. And Nonna and I will be losing some points here. Their previous location in Norwood was particularly well lit, and that was one of my favourite things about that location. Whereas with their new spot, well, the lighting is less than ideal, particularly if you're like me and have an eye condition which requires reasonable lighting to make out much of anything. On top of that, while the tables at the sides of the restaurant are reasonably well spread apart, it's not necessarily true for the more centralised tables, which from my observation were a little bit clumped together. So depending on where you sit, you might have an easier or a more challenging time navigating the restaurant space. Unfortunately, it does mean that Nonna and I is only going to be getting 2 out of 5 in the accessibility space. I quite like Nonna and I. It has a different vibe to a lot of other Italian restaurants around Adelaide, and it needs to because that's a cuisine we do have an abundance of. The food is great, the staff are very friendly, and while I have some challenges as far as accessibility goes, it's still well worth a visit. When you take all of that into account, I'm more than happy to give Nonna and I 4 out of 5. Tony Soprano would approve.
Hey, Tony.
I don't.
You like creme anglaise?
Hey, you bless it, I'll eat it.
If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like. Comments are always appreciated, and if you want to see more videos like this, and everything else that I get up to, consider subscribing so you never miss future videos. And until next time, you'll see me, but I won't see you.